My project is over Turing machines. Sometimes it is the people no one can imagine anything of who do the things that no one can imagine. Alan Turing, who is the inventor of Turing machines. Alan Turing was an English mathematician and is widely considered the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. He played a crucial role in World War II as part of Britain's code-breaking center, where his job was to unencrypt intercepted German ciphers. This task eventually led to him creating a machine which would be able to crack any code they intercepted from the Axis powers, specifically Germany. This machine was the first Turing machine used practically and set the groundwork for all artificial intelligence. It is estimated that Turing and his colleagues' work shortened World War II by more than 2 years and saved over 14 million lives. This is depicted in the film The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch. So what are Turing machines? Well, Turing machines are computational devices intended to help investigate what can and cannot be computed. More specifically, they were devised for the computing of real numbers once Turing made them automated, and he called these automated machines or A-machines. The machines were not called Turing machines until someone was reviewing his paper in 1937 and coined the term. The history of Turing machines. Alan Turing invented Turing machines in 1936 and 37 when he published a paper to help investigate the extent and limitations of what can and cannot be computed. He made a simple version of the machine at the time. In this same paper, Turing went on to expand on the idea and the thought of a universal Turing machine, which was made to prove the uncomputability of certain problems. Turing then created the Turing machine that would go on to crack the Enigma code used by the Germans in World War II on July 9, 1941. This was crucial to the aid of the Allied powers as the Germans and the Axis powers continued to use this Enigma code all throughout World War II, not knowing that the Allied powers in Britain had cracked it with the Turing machine. So how do they work? Well, a Turing machine uses a binary code which consists of ones, zeros, and spaces to determine certain algorithms and uses 3 different key factors to interpret the binary code. The first key is a strip of tape divided into squares. On each square was either a 1, a 0, or a space. The second key was a reading head, which acts as an eye for the machine to determine whether it is looking at a 1, a 0, or a space. An internal state was the third key, and this told the machine what the 1, the 0, or the space meant in the algorithm or in the context of which it was being read. So the strip of tape was more than just a small little piece of paper that in one square had the number 1, and another had the number 0, and in another had a blank space. The tape was actually very long and consisted of many zeros, ones, and spaces. The tape could also be erased upon and written upon in order to manipulate the code as needed. This tape allowed the machine to understand what it needed to compute. Then there was the reading head. The idea of the reading head was simple. It allowed the machine to determine if there was a 1, a 0, or a space on the tape. This determined the what of the Turing machine. However, the reading head also determined in what order the tape was read. It would make the tape move 1 square to the right, to the left, or not move at all, as one way of movement would make the machine read a 0, a 1, or a blank space. Depending on what state the machine was in, this would determine which order the machine interpreted the code. So, if you wanted to divide 50 by 2, the reading head would allow you to understand it correctly, but without the direction of the reading head, the machine might compute 2 divided by 50, which would make a big difference. Then there was the internal state, which was extremely important and possibly the most important role in the computation of the Turing machine. The internal state would determine the how of the algorithm and how it was interpreted. In a certain state, the machine may interpret the reading of a 1 square on the tape as the number 500. However, if the state were to change, the machine may interpret the reading of a 1 square as the number 2. This obviously plays a big role in the outcome of the computation, as if you were trying to say do 2 plus 500, obviously you would get 502. However, if this state was in the sense to where you wanted to get the answer 502, but it was reading the number 500 as 2, then you would get 4 and not 502. The Turing machine also had a great impact on computer science. As stated earlier, Alan Turing is considered the father of computer science. Today, the Turing machine and its theories are part of the theoretical foundations of computer science. In the 1950s, there was a need for theoretical models to reflect on the new computing machines of the time, their abilities and limitations, and have done it in a systematic manner. It was in this context that the theoretical work already done by the Turing machine was picked up again. Turing machines were also used in what would become the origins of formal language theory, and it is the Turing machine model that is used in theoretical computer science even today. Turing machines in the modern computer. Alan Turing is not just considered the father of computer science, but also as the father of the modern computer. This has been debated by many historians of computing in recent years, however, as Turing machines were not the only model computer that contributed to the modern computer. However, it is agreed that the Turing machine is the first general-purpose computer and is still considered the main theoretical model of the modern computer. The aid of the Turing machine in World War II was kept a secret until the 1970s, and the full story was not known until the 1990s. And here is a picture of the Turing machine that was used in World War II to decipher the Enigma code. On the left is the outside of the machine with a bunch of knobs, and on the right is the inside of the machine once it had been opened up with all the inner workings of it. Thank you.